I went out to the bus stop, and the bus going to the black school came by, picked up everybody, so I was there by myself. And I saw this bus coming, and it was so far away, but I could just see it coming in the big yellow bus. And it was strange, and my heart was beating, and it stopped for me. And I got on, and I was the only black person on there. And I had to stand up. I wasn't allowed to sit. And people were calling me nigger and that kind of thing. Oh, that trip was mind-boggling.
The worst part about segregating the school was that we got on this bus. And every time we get on this bus, this big, cross-eyed white guy used to always want to pick on the children, pick on us. And I always had to fight for them. I felt like that was my duty.
Here I walk into a classroom of an all-white environment, and on my first day, a little boy, Calhoun Parr, got up on a stool and pointed at me and said, "Look, y'all, a nigger."
The worst part of it was, one, I did not want to be there because, again, I was at Drayton Street Elementary. I had friends there. I was not familiar with the culture. I did not want to go to a white school. During the time frame, it was more hostile. The 60s was a hostile time frame. So I did not want to be there. So my anxiety level of going there was, why do I have to go here? And even before I went there, my parents, I was going kicking and screaming. One of my parents, they actually took me back over to the black elementary school, Drayton, to try to get me back in there, but I was turned away. You have to go to Spear Street, and I went.
Psychologically, it instilled probably from a perspective of having no real choice, the question of the unknown, fear. Back then, most neighborhoods were segregated, so at that point, I remember going downtown several times with my mom. There were segregated water fountains. There were segregated bathrooms. There was a movie theater in Newberry on Main Street, at the top of Main Street, called the Ritz Theater. And the Ritz Theater had a lower level and a balcony. We used to have to go down this kind of like an alley to get to the balcony and walk up these stairs. And I was a kid, but I can remember that. And we sat upstairs in the balcony, which was probably about a quarter of the size of the lower level. And that's where us black people sat.
Ronnie Harmon, white kid, we were friends. He was friends of the family. We played every time I went to my grandmother and all of that. He was just a good guy. He patted the seat next to him, and I sat with him. And man, it takes you back. And they called him nigger lover, all of that stuff. He had all of that. Hey, he had all of that stuff heaped on him. For doing right.
stomach, a hole in my heart. Can someone please tell me when we started to fall apart? And it feels unfamiliar, but I know it's been done before. But this time you pulled that trigger.